Christine. Nice to meet you.
Hi. So, do you prefer the rules in English or in French?
English, please.
So, each team has 20 minutes to present its case to the judges. I will hold up a sign for the last 10, 5, and 2 minutes, as well as for the last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds, I will indicate with my fingers the number of seconds remaining. If you have not finished your presentation after 20 minutes, you will be stopped in order to proceed with the Q&A period. The Q&A period of maximum of 5 minutes is allocated to the jury and at the end of your presentation. And please note that at any time you cannot say or reference the name or the location of your university. Thanks again.
Service à la clientèle exceptionnel. Des produits abordables tout en maintenant une qualité exceptionnelle. Ce sont 3 qualités qui différencient Target de ses compétiteurs, tels que Canadian Tire ainsi que Walmart. Aujourd'hui, la présentation va se dérouler à part cette partie-ci en anglais. Donc, avec mes collègues Katan et Maj, ainsi que moi-même Christine, on va vous présenter notre solution, our target for the success of your company. Before diving into our recommendation, we're going to start with the current situation, how things are going for Target. By laying this ground, we're going to then talk about the opportunity statement and then conveying the Target way. This is our ultimate recommendation that consists of 3 main parts, such as the Perfect Guest Challenge, the Target Challenge, as well as the Target Leaders for Tomorrow. And then we're going to wrap up with a couple of numbers before proceeding with the question and answer period. During this period, please feel free to ask your questions in English or in French. We'll be glad to answer in both languages. So before we dive into what's happening in the market, it's important to understand what Target does as a company. So what they do is that they offer these trendy and quality products, and by allowing the customers to buy these at a lesser price by expecting more. And this is to deliver this outstanding value, this continuous innovation, while providing an exceptional shopping experience. So right now, what Target is, what essentially you'll be proceeding to do in the next couple of months is to open these 25 stores in the region of Quebec. Now, every store is going to require 150 to 200 team members at these stores for a total of around 5,000 employees. Now, from our understanding of the information, you have already begun the recruitment for these team leaders. So right now you're looking to essentially fill in a couple of spots for these, as well as mainly focusing on the team members for these stores across Quebec. In order to prepare for the September 2013, which ultimately will mark the beginning of the store openings here in Quebec. So one thing that we had to keep in mind while providing this recommendation is to provide priority to these local hires across the various regions of Quebec. So by implementing Conveying the Target Way, a twofold recruitment strategy consisting of first a video and second of a game challenge, and by building upon the current recruitment initiatives that are already so broad, Target can expect to reach its goal of hiring 150 to 200 team members in each of its 25 stores here in Quebec upon opening at minimal cost.
Thank you, Christine. So before we get into our recommendation, we'd just like to explain who the ideal candidate is from what we've identified from the case. Firstly, they need to be friendly and approachable. This is extremely important because your culture identifies that people that work there are friendly, collaborative, and they're fun. So obviously we need someone that fits that criteria. We also need them to be meticulous and detail-oriented to check that the prices are right on the correct items, that no stealing happens, that they're just truthful and honest people. We also need collaborative members. A lot of these things, there's a lot of group work involved. You have to work in teams. Obviously, we want diverse teams. Like you said, a lot of the people that work there are from diverse backgrounds, so we need to make sure that they can work together, that they can settle their differences. And of course, we know that diverse teams, it's a great opportunity because you get a lot of new perspectives and new ideas. And obviously that's something that we want to foster here. We also need leadership qualities and experience because a lot of these team members will eventually become executive team members. And so we want them earlier on to have these leadership experience so that when hopefully the time comes for them to be promoted, they have these skills already in them and they can develop them as time goes on. Diversity we've already touched upon, and then values like customer service, sustainability, ethical, and community involvement. Target does so much for the environment, and like for just corporate social responsibility, we need people that also have the same motives and that embrace these values, because that's something that Target has like a lot of good brand image from, and we want to sustain that obviously and leverage it. Now, in order to come up with our recommendation, we've identified these decision criteria. Firstly, is to showcase the personality of the applicants. Target, since it's a fun and friendly environment and you're extremely innovative, we didn't want to limit the applicants to the traditional recruitment process where it's just a CV, an interview. You don't really get to show your personality, you don't get to show your creativity. And since innovation is something so important to Target, we want them to be able to show their personality, to demonstrate their creativity and their originality. We also want to evaluate the commitment of the applicants. We want to find the applicants that are truly passionate, and with our recommendation, you'll see it's one that will enable you to evaluate how passionate they are and to actually see it firsthand. We also want to illustrate their attention to detail. We'll explain that further on later, and to demonstrate their ability to allocate time efficiently, which again will be explained later in the presentation. So the recommendation comes to you in two steps. Part one is called the perfect guest, and part two is the target challenge. The perfect guest is a video challenge, and part two is the target challenge, which is a game challenge, which Katan will explain to you in further detail. These two strategies make up our ultimate recruitment strategy. I'll be walking you through part one of the recommendation. So part one is the perfect guest. Essentially what that is, it's a video challenge. Why video? Again, we want to stay away from the traditional recruitment where people can't really express themselves in a way where you can see if they're creative, if they have the right personality that fits with targets. And that's why we've chosen a video challenge. It'll showcase the personality of the applicants, like we said, and this adheres to all the decision criteria that we've identified. And you can identify individuals that would fit with the culture of the company while embracing it. Now, a video is a great way because you can get a lot of traffic to your YouTube page, which you haven't really been, to set up a YouTube page, which is a great opportunity because nowadays a lot of people are into these challenges, and it's a great way to create hype for the opening of all these stores across Canada. How it works is step one, the participants answer the question, why am I the perfect guest? Now, as we know, guest is what Target uses to talk about their clients. If you know what makes why you would be a perfect client, you know what experience the client wants to have, you know what requirements they possess, you know what they're looking for, if they're price conscious, you know all these things. So by answering the question, why are you the perfect guest, you know exactly what to provide for the customer so they can have the ultimate Target experience. So when they answer this question, it's like a 1-minute video maximum. They can just show you how creative and how innovative they can be. They show you their personality, so you don't have to look at a CV to understand do they have the right personality. You can't measure stuff like that, creativity, innovation in a resume. In an essay, it's also limited, but by having a video, you can see it firsthand. So the step two, they'd upload the video onto the YouTube page, and they'd submit an online application on the Target website. You'd include a link, and obviously that draws traffic there, and you share the video on YouTube, on your Facebook page, and any forms of social media. And step four is that by the end of the deadline, the people that get the most views get an automatic interview. So that would be the top 10%, they're guaranteed an interview. The advantage of doing this is that, again, you see all these things that you're looking for firsthand in a different way from the traditional interview process. But also, you get a lot of traffic and a lot of interest and hype towards your new thing. So the timeline would be in January. It's the beginning of the contest. It's promoted through social media. February 10th would be a deadline for the YouTube activity, which includes submissions and the sharing and the liking. February 14th, you'd notify your top 10% per region. By March, you'd have the interview process, and you focus on behavioral and situational questions because those give the best results.
Thank you, Ash. So I'll take you through the next part of our strategy, which is the Target Challenge. The Target Challenge is a game challenge. So you're in a position where you're entering the market. A lot of companies recruit the same way, CV, online, but this is different. This is through an interactive game that you'll develop online. So the game itself, what it's going to consist of is a module or an episode each and every week that's going to be released. And the whole point of the module is to guide the participants or the contestants through Target's way of life. So what are the principles, the values, guide them through the decision-making process that happens in a Target store. Guide them through different challenges that they may face in the store, whether it's customer service, conflict resolution, dealing with other team members, things like that, and how to and how they will deal with these situations. So once the game is going to be launched, all the players will be registered online. They'll have their names and the universities or the registration information online. Step one is going to be solving various scenarios. As I explained, we're going to be throwing at them customer service problems, conflict resolution problems. Step two, so these problems will occur in modules. After the module is completed, what they'll do is they'll complete like a mini quiz. So the mini quiz will consist of ethical questions, you know, whether they follow the same values. So it'll help weed out the people that are just applying for the sake of a job to those that are actually looking at your values, looking to be a part of the target for the basic value reasons. Finally, at the end of the game, which will happen at the end of the 2-month period, there'll be a final scoring sheet compiled by the software. So what this will do is it'll compile the data you have, the data that the participant inputted, and compare it to what target is looking for in an ideal client. So do they match up in terms of friendliness? Do they match up in terms of working together in teams? Do they match up in terms of providing quality customer service? Well, they'll look at that and they'll give the participant a grade from A to F. And so it'll compare the person to see whether or not they're an ideal match for Target, and with that, they can apply. They can apply to be a part of Target. Target has all this information on hand, so they can reach out to these individuals and ask them if they want to come join Target and work for Target as an individual. So this is the timeline for the game challenge. In January, we're going to select the design team. So this game obviously needs to be designed. It needs to be developed from the ground up. In terms of the modules, the research, all of that needs to be done. So that'll be done in January. You select the design team and you begin developing the game. We're estimating around 2 months to develop this game, so working with people at Target, at the headquarters, to develop the various modules that you're looking for in an individual, the various skills and qualities you're looking for, to develop the different modules to target those different aspects. In February, we'll begin the promotion for the game launch, so obviously something like this cannot be successful without the promotion of it. So that's going to be through Facebook, Twitter, social media, kind of hype this game up so that when it hits the market in April, a lot of people will be clamoring for it and will be ready to go into it. Again, through February and April, the game will continue to be developed by the software engineers. In April, which is our projected launch date, we'll invite people from all across the world to participate, to get involved. We'll also, as Maj mentioned before, only 10% of the people in the video contest actually got an interview. We have their information on hand, so we can also send out an invitation for them to compete in the game challenge as well. This will, if they're interested in being a part of Target, this will pull them towards us and help us reach out to the people that may not have been able to win the challenge before. And finally, the June to July part of the months, there will be an interview process, which will focus again on behavioral and situational questions to determine whether these candidates fit with Target and the values that Target embodies. In terms of financial implications, so the video challenge itself, there aren't very many costs in terms of Target's, costs in terms of investment on Target's behalf. The game development will cost money. We have made a couple of assumptions. So we've assumed that the game itself will require 3 software engineers, that they're going to be paid around $45 an hour. They're going to work 40 hours a week, and they'll be working for 8 weeks, which is the 2-month development span that we thought of for the game. The expected total cost is around $144,000. To put that into context, projected sales for Quebec stores, for the 25 Quebec stores over a year, is projected to be over $1 billion. So if you look at it in context, $144,000 to $1 billion worth of sales, that's less than a fraction of a % of the total value that you're going to be receiving. So it's a great investment on that behalf. You'll be getting a lot back in terms of exposure in the market. You'll be getting a lot of candidates that are interested in what you're looking for, and you'll get a lot of publicity as well.
Great, so before we move on to the third and ultimate part of our recommendation, the one thing that we really want to stress throughout the part 1 and the part 2, so the video as well as the game challenge, is that the reason why we chose these specific mediums of recruitment is in order to leverage the pull that social media has, especially in a culture such as today in North America. So that's the reason why we chose the video challenge and the game challenge, just as a side note. So as a fun, collaborative, and innovative employer of choice, we wanted to find, one of the things that we had to address is that we had to find ways in order to keep the team motivated after this whole hype of the opening stores throughout Quebec. So one of the things that we wanted to really convey is that we wanted to convey the why people want to work there, because it's a likable atmosphere, they feel engaged, and we want these employees, these team members, to remain loyal to the Target brand. So that's why we decided to choose the Target Challenge, essentially to reinforce the company's values throughout, to provide upper level training as preparation for these executive and upper level management positions, as well as bi-weekly open circle meetings. So these meetings especially are a way for these for the team members to come together upon closing whenever is most convenient, depending on the store and location, and for them to really sit down with the team leaders, see what went well, what didn't go so well, and what could be improved for the coming weeks. Because the stores are going to be opened throughout, and because it's going to be the first couple of weeks, we really wanted to set this atmosphere of openness and collaboration for essentially to set the tone for the rest of the store's operation. And one of the things is that amongst this, as part of the Target Challenge, essentially, we really wanted to focus on as to provide training for these future employees to showcase that these recent graduates and these people that have recently obtained their degrees have opportunities for advancement throughout Target. So what we really wanted to do is that we wanted to take 2 days, a weekend, the end of the week, as you wish, and to really provide the chance for these local team members in order to meet upper level management. Most of them are going to be seasonal part-time, but it's a great way to invest in these members today in order for them, because eventually they're the ones that are going to be leading your company, so to invest in them as of now. So essentially this, when we put together this idea, we wanted to, we set it as an annual recurring event. So it essentially be composed of 2 days. So multiple activities will be involved. So first of all, there could be an opening cocktail, which is a great way for these team members, either open to all team members or a select few that are approved, that have separated themselves essentially from the rest, and to invite them to this opening cocktail to allow this relaxed atmosphere in order to discuss in depth as to what Target has to offer in the next couple of years. What we want to do throughout this cocktail is essentially to provide a silent auction, because one of the things that was really apparent for Target is essentially their involvement in the community. So essentially by, similar to the Facebook silent auction or whatnot, this would be essentially benefiting the selected charities, either by the members or by the participants of the cocktail. And it's really a chance for both spheres, either regionally or different levels of the organization, to come together and essentially celebrate what Target has to offer. On the second day would be really focused more on the technical training. So the training, these workshops, in terms of, it's going to be really an opportunity to discuss the challenges that have been encountered either on a day-to-day basis or for these stores that are going to be opening in the future. What are the things to keep in mind as they go through this integration process into the different cultures that they're going to be opening their stores in. So by implementing Conveying the Target Way, a twofold recruitment strategy consisting of a video as well as a game challenge, and by building upon the current recruitment initiatives, Target can expect to reach its goal of hiring 150 to 200 employees per store for a total of 5,000 in the Quebec region for each of its 25 stores upon opening at minimal cost. And also, so first of all, the video challenge, the game challenge, as well as the leadership academy, I guess you could call it. So I guess that if you have, that marks the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free.
D'après vous, comment est-ce que Target est perçu comme employeur chez vous présent?
How is Target viewed as an employer in Canada, presently in the market? That's the question. Target is new to Canada, so obviously it has a lot of challenges penetrating the market itself. I think Target is seen as new, something that people really want to get a part of. Yeah. It's definitely seen as a really upscale version of a lot of retail outlets out there, and I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people to work. The way Target is designed in terms of team leaders, team members, it offers a lot of opportunity. I think a lot of people look at that and see that as an option, and I think in that regards, once you can build upon that perception right now and make that and essentially like build upon that perception and make it what it is, make it even better. Because I think people do see it as a positive way of a positive place to work, and I think that once you do penetrate the market and people see that that's actually exactly how it is, because no stores have opened yet, so unfortunately there's people can't really live by experience. But once that does happen, I think that the positive perception of that will continue.
Yeah.
And do you think that's a Montreal perspective or a Quebec perspective that you're giving us?
In terms of, est-ce que je peux parler de mon expérience personnelle, par exemple, parce que je pense que ça serait plus relevant to the context. La plupart des personnes que je connais, moi je suis américaine, fait que j'ai déjà été au Target. Par contre, il y a des gens qui voient plus ça comme une place pour des produits, au contraire qu'une place pour une opportunité d'avancement. C'est pour ça qu'on voulait donner la place et la chance, dans le fond, aux personnes qui travailleraient là pendant leur université, pendant leur cégep, pour justement rencontrer des gens à un plus haut niveau, que ce soit en administration qui ait de l'intérêt ou pas, mais juste pour les rencontrer, avoir cette idée en tête, puis pouvoir continuer. C'est vraiment plus, d'après nous, c'est plus à Montréal que cette perspective est connue. Plutôt qu'à travers le Québec, c'est un peu moins connu, étant donné que c'est un peu plus francophone, puis Target, c'est quand même reconnu comme une entreprise anglophone.
And I don't want to take too much time on the same question, because I think probably have questions, but the reason I bring that up is that your strategy relies quite a bit on people wanting to come to Target, and it's not so much a go get people strategy you have, it's more of a selection strategy you have. I'm just wondering if that strategy would generate enough interest to get us the numbers we would need to open the market. I'm just wondering what this is.
I definitely think that with the stores opening in September, there's a lot of hype around Target already, which is why we think that the strategy would work. There's a lot of publicity already being generated. You're getting a lot of free press in the newspapers, things like that. Buying out sellers, things like that generates a lot of interest. I think that people will go online, will look up Target, they'll see these things, and so I think the pull strategy does work. It doesn't necessarily have to be a push strategy, and I think in that regards, I think the strategy would work just fine.
So tied to, very similar to that question then, I think your plan is very innovative, but you're sort of taking into context technology. And so you're looking at a very specific group, whether that's Gen Y, the millennials. How do you make sure that we're not alienating everyone else? And what do we do to ensure that our recruitment strategy actually reflects that diverse group in our stores?
Yeah, no, for sure, we thought about that and we realized that would be a concern. But it's not like we're only going to do this, we're also going to have the traditional method. It's just that we felt like to get really innovative people, we'd want to try this really, I guess, high-tech approach that's more innovative, but we still have the traditional route where you can send in a resume and application. But we feel like a lot of people would still be able to access this, because it's not we understand it might be a little bit technologically advanced, but there's nothing really too difficult. A lot of people have these basic skills. But yeah, we feel like it wouldn't eliminate a lot of people, but we understand it might eliminate a small percentage, which is why we still have the traditional path available to them.
Well, all right. There are different employee groups in Target stores. You have team leaders, executive team leaders, members, etc. If you had to choose one employee group or position in the store that you think was the most important, which one would it be and why?
Personally, I'm not sure about the group, but I would think the team members would be the most important, just because they would get the basic solid, they start from the very beginning, so they would know how to do things. They'd learn from experience because they've been there for a longer time. The executives would sort of need that initial stage just to understand what it's like to deal with the customers, what they really need to be able to carry out those strategic decisions at the top. I feel like if they were to come from an outside, they don't truly get the sense of what Target's about, but the team members would, and if they progressed from the bottom up, they would get just a more holistic view of what it's about to treat the guests.
And your team members are also ambassadors for your organization. They can see the brand. I think it's important that you have strong team members to have strong team leaders.
Yeah.
And for your question is done. Thanks.
Thank you.